Oh, jam! Hello again and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 511 of the Mana Pool, and that number gets bigger every week.
Oh no! Someone stop it while there's still time.
It's weird how that works, isn't it? Except for that one week where we time warped. And there'll be another one coming soon. It's all very strange. I am Chewy, the lead dork. And with me, as always, are these other dorks. Hi, dorks.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm the lead wrangler, tangent master of the group. And earlier today, I went to Walgreens to pick up some photos, and a girl there recognized me not only for being an attorney, but for playing Magic. And Carrie asked me when I got back to the car, did you plug the show? And I said, of course not. And she said, she was going to be mad at you.
Of course not. Brian has always been sort of embarrassed by this aspect of things.
Not at this point. I'm very cool with it. It just was like a little more than I was expecting to get to when I went in to get my like $2 worth of photos.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy, and it's been a while since I last met someone like out in public that I recognized from the shop, or they recognized me from the shop. Quite a while.
Do you
I
go
also
out in
haven't been
public?
around the shop in a while.
Do you go out in public?
Yeah, I got to go to work.
That's not public.
Oh, well,
I mean, if you work like in the mall or like in retail, but you know.
Okay, I do have to go to the grocery store every once in a while.
There you go. That's similar.
Yeah.
And I'm Dark, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. And I have no choice but to go out in public and talk to people, and because I'm being a teacher and everything, I have to go and talk to them. Although the good news is I finally got rid of my seniors. We graduated today, so I can go back into reclusion.
Yay!
Yeah.
I have not left my apartment in... Okay, wait. On Sunday, I went to see Deadpool 2.
There you go. What day was it when you had your little adventure on the side of the road? What day was that?
That was before that.
Okay.
I think that was like Friday? I can't remember. But I know I went to check the mail. Oh, that's a lie. I have gone to check the mail a couple times since Sunday, but I haven't like gotten in my car and left my apartment complex since Sunday.
Okay.
But it's cool because I'm leaving Saturday because we have family coming in. Even though it's supposed to rain all damn day, we got family coming in for Memorial Day weekend, so I'm probably going to go hang out with them on Saturday, so that'll count. So it'll be less than a week before I leave again. Well, that's depressing. So, let's see here. We have things to talk about. The day after we recorded last week. Wait, did we record?
We did record. We did record last week,
but I used a live episode.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the day after we recorded a future episode last week. See, that's the time travel I was talking about.
I can't do that very well, but yeah.
The day after that, announcement day happened on the Wizards website.
Yes.
And I woke up and felt terrible and stayed in bed. And then I happened to see on Twitter, hey, announcement day. And I went, what? And I pulled it up and looked at it, and it was a video that I had to watch. And I went, ugh.
You didn't have to watch it.
If you wanted all the information, you had to watch it.
You had to. And we are using the word had to, unfortunately.
Like, I said this on Monday Night Magic. No offense meant to anybody involved in the creation of the video, but it was really cringy, really forced.
It was super ultra scripted. Just especially the way that the two moderate Megan and Maria, who are both on Magic the Amateuring. Is that correct?
Yeah, and on the coverage team.
And I love them, and I've seen their stuff. This, if they wrote this, then but literally at one point or another, they brought up most of the keyword mechanics from Ravnica guilds in the past.
In
They're
pun
like,
form.
In pun form, and they do it once or twice, and you're like, okay, I see what you did there, and they just kept going.
But it wasn't.
Like,
it wasn't.
If they weren't clustered so close together, it wouldn't have stuck out so much.
It wasn't the puns themselves that bothered me. It was just the delivery of the whole thing was just. It was obviously like scripted.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make it sound like it wasn't and failing miserably. It's like every time we've ever tried to get Brian to like say something that's been planned, you can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a reason we don't do that anymore. And once again, these guys are all very talented people. And so I don't want to sound disrespectful, but I stopped watching the video after a while, read the rest of the article and said, okay, and went back and finished watching it just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best they were done. Here's my thing. Before we actually get into what the actual announcement was, which I'm sure everybody knows at this point, but the fact, well, I guess we actually have to talk about what it was before I get into that. So I'm sorry. I have a thought about this, and I was trying to make sure I articulated it, but let's keep going.
From what I had heard of you guys talking about it and what I had seen on Facebook of people posting about it before I saw it, I was expecting it to be way worse than it actually was. And I mean, personally, I don't agree that it was as bad as you guys letting it on to be.
We might have. I mean,
it was a commercial. It made me think of one thing that'll come on the TV sometimes in the morning when I'm watching the news. Like, it's time for an ABC 45 business news update, and it's not a news update. It's someone from the station interviewing a local business person about whatever is going on. And it's just a commercial, and that's pretending to be an interview, and that's what this was.
And I get that. It just, I can't help but compare it to the last big announcement day we had last year, and I'm going to come back to this later. But the difference, which also had a scripted video, but
which was cringy.
Which was cringy, but it was like one guy going around the office and talking to people, but it felt like there was more energy. It felt like there was a little more variety to it.
That was like goofy cringy, though. Is that the one where Rosewater tackled the camera and screamed unstable?
Yes.
Yeah, see, that was awesome.
And you could tell that he was having to like really make an effort to physically hold Mark back when he was Mark was serious.
Yeah. But I want to get back to that comparison in a bit, because I think we actually need to talk about what the meat of the announcement was.
So yeah, the big thing is that we're going back to Ravnica, which is cool. Or whatever. Like, that's fine.
So if you're getting my reaction as I'm watching this, I actually asked these guys, I think 2 weeks ago, I was like, hey, when is announcement day? Because I'm thinking, I'm still high off of Dominaria. Look, I'm glad that they didn't do it too early, so that they, like they did a couple of years ago when it was returned to Ravnica the first time, and it stepped all over
Avacyn
Restored. But I'm like, I love new cards. So are we getting announcement day soon? So I see that it's announcement day. I'm done with court. I start to watch the video, and the first thing is, we're going back to a place that everybody loves. It's one of our most popular planes, and it turned out to be Ravnica. And my first initial reaction is incredibly positive. If you have been following the story, this is something they have been building toward. Apparently, whatever Nicol Bolas wants, his master plan involves Ravnica. And while that feels a little odd to me, because it's like, why? I know why they did it. It's because everyone loves Ravnica. It's literally one of their most popular sets, one of their most popular planes.
Yeah, and not too long after they first introduced it, they started to get plans to use it as the new hub world, since Dominaria was wrecked.
Yeah. So my initial reaction was yes.
Since Dominaria was wrecked, scrub.
So I'm hearing this and I'm like, hey, I'm liking this. But then it keeps going, and I start to come out of it a little bit.
So my first reaction was, oh. Like when they said it's Ravnica, I was like, oh. And that was it for me. Hey Mike, what was your snap reaction?
Huh.
Dirk?
Facepalm.
Damn.
And I guess mine was a little more enthusiastic than the rest, but that part of it is, again, I've been following the story, and I love Ravnica. And quite frankly, I thought, okay, we're not going to be dragging this out because they've been building up toward this thing with Nicol Bolas and his master plan, and we're getting to it. And I'm like, that's nice. That's amazing. And that's why we haven't found out about this yet, is because they didn't want to reveal too much too soon. But we're there. We're there. And then,
to be fair, I didn't stop and think hard enough about why it was going back. You know, the next day I realized, oh yeah, they've been setting this up that people are going to go back there for the big fight. Right.
Yeah. Nicol Bolas, the whole reason Nicol Bolas assembled his army on Amonkhet for this purpose. He got the Planar Gate for this purpose. He even got Tezzeret Vraska to get him the Eternal Sun, Immortal Sun, the Sun thing. For this, and I'm like, we're getting it done.
Woo!
And then they say their plan, which is 3 sets in Ravnica, Guilds of Ravnica, which will come out in October. I'm like, and it's half the guilds. I'm like, okay, Ravnica Allegiance in January, which is the other half of the guilds. I'm like, okay, and then another Ravnica set, the name of which is not yet released, probably for story reasons, to be out in, I assume, March or April. And I'm like, oh no. At this point, it's such a letdown from where I started, because now all of a sudden it's 3 sets. I almost said 5 sets. It feels like 5 sets. It's 3 sets, which means now we're going to be dragging out the story over basically a year. And we just finished blocks. We finished Kaladesh, 2 blocks. We finished Amonkhet, two sets in the block. And we're going back to Dominaria, and they only did 1 set. And you know what? I think a lot of people really like Dominaria. I don't think it's just us. I mean, we were hearing about stores running out of product.
Yeah, Dominaria is easily the best-selling product in a while.
Yeah.
And set all kinds of sales records, if I remember seeing Twitter things, if I'm remembering that properly.
Right.
But they say, okay, we're done with blocks. Everything's going to be standalone now.
Yes. And they did say we could spend more than 1 set in a particular location if it's necessary. And I remember that. Yeah. But here's the thing with Dominaria. Somebody at one of the stores I was going to said they needed to do another set in Dominaria. And I thought about them like, well, while everybody likes that, when they cut it down to 1 set, this is like the cream of the crop. They didn't have to throw in the filler stuff. A lot of Mark Rosewater's articles talking about Dominaria over the last couple of weeks have been like, we toyed around with this and that didn't make it. We thought about this and that didn't make it. I'm like, good, because that means the best stuff. It's like when you're building a draft deck. Mm-hmm. You have all this great stuff, or especially in Sealed, you look at all this stuff and then you put in stuff that's the best stuff. You don't put in stuff you don't want. So this set is pure goodness. And now all of a sudden,
ominous pause.
Yeah, the problem is it's incredibly difficult to do. It's difficult to do Ravnica without any guild stuff, and it's very difficult to do all the guild stuff in a single set.
Which I get, and that may be part of the issue with Dominaria, is because we have done 2 sets there and 2 blocks there, and
Ravnica.
Ravnica, did I say Dominaria?
Yes.
In Ravnica, is that they are kind of almost set up to be slaves to this guild convention.
And that's the term I used. I said they don't have to be slaves to the guild format that they've done twice already, because they've done it twice already.
Well, and to be fair, if they went back to Ravnica and they didn't do guilds, a certain segment of people would probably be up in arms.
That is also probably true.
But maybe with the 3rd set, we'll see the breakdown of the guild system. Maybe. He said almost hopefully. And I know that people will get upset at that because they love Ravnica. People are invested in this. But it makes it so hard, as Mike said, to go back there without having to spend a lot of time. Because if you look at Dragon's Maze, which tried to feature a little bit of all the guilds, Dragon's Maze was a little bit
terrible.
Crazy is what I would say.
I mean, and the only reason it could do that was because it was specifically made to just add a little bit more stuff to the things that were already established in Return to Ravnica and Gatecrash.
Right.
Let's not forget it was also a small set, which makes it even harder to do that. Like, original Ravnica was 4 guilds in the first set. It was a big set. And then the 2 small sets were 3 and 3.
Yes.
And then for the second go-round, they went, okay, let's not do that. We'll have 2 big sets. It'll be 5 and 5. And then we'll have a small set of whatever. And that small set of whatever is widely regarded as a massive disappointment.
Yeah. And so, and another reason that we switched from blocks is by the end of the block, you're ready to go anywhere else. I always say that I remember even one of the first full blocks I ever played for was Mirrodin, the original Mirrodin. And it seemed really cool and interesting. But by the time the 5th Dawn came around, I was like, can we go somewhere that has colors of magic? Because
what are you talking about? The 5th Dawn had all the colors of magic all of a sudden.
Yeah, but it still didn't feel right, you know? So it's fatigue. And when you're spending a whole year, which 3 out of the 3 major sets of the year is a whole year, you want a change of scenery. So we just came off of Dominaria. I said I would feel bad for whatever set came next. And luckily we've got the core set to kind of like bring things down a notch. But it's going to be that we're going to go to Ravnica, and by the end of it, we're going to be, by even like halfway through, we might be ready to be anywhere else. And that's just sad because it's Ravnica. It's supposed to be awesome. And I'm just like, and then the fact that they are taking so long to then drag out the story, because it's pretty clear that whatever Nicol Bolas' plan is, it's not going to be put into motion the very first story article of the very first set. That's just, which means you're going to be waiting and reading articles, and some of them are probably going to be very good, but how much filler is there going to be over this period? And I'm just and then the other thing I want to mention, once again bringing up last year's announcement day, you notice how this whole announcement talks about the 3 sets, the 2 we know, Guilds of Ravnica Allegiance, and then Unknown. And then it also talks about guild kits, which are 60-card flavored 60-card decks. Basically, each one is modeled around a particular guild and has interesting stuff in it with swag. It says like pin stickers and spin down life counters. I think that's kind of neat. I think that's kind of a way to kind of play into that. I don't have a problem with that. But that means that the other news in announcement day is still about Ravnica. Now, once again, think about last year. Last year, they announced, this was after Kaladesh, I believe. So they were talking about Amonkhet. I'd have to go back and review last year's. But talked about, if nothing else, I talked about Ixalan, because I remember this is where we found out. Somebody just posted, I don't know anything about it, but it has Pirate of Vraska with dinosaurs, and I'm in. You know, so we found out about Ixalan. We found about that we were going back to Dominaria. We didn't even know anything about it. We found out about Iconic Masters, where once again people could actually have the most pure pre-release experience. And we found out about
Stable.
Thank you. There's too many of them. I kept coming back to Unhinged. We found out about all this different stuff, and then this one just feels like lots and lots of Ravnica. And I'm like, where's? I mean, this is announcement day, you know, where's everything else? And so I'm kind of left feeling a little like, which doesn't...
I'm looking at announcement day from last year now. We got Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan, Explorers of Ixalan, the art book, the Merfolk versus Goblins duel deck, From the Vault Transform. Hey, we're going back to Dominaria. A 25th anniversary edition master set, the Return of Core sets, and Unstable.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And this year we got
3 things.
Yeah, this year we got Ravnica. Hey, here's some Battlebond stuff. Preview start Monday, so that didn't count. And then the Global Series thing that we already knew about. This is just when they decided to show it to us.
Yeah,
and that's it.
And was the announcement day you're talking about from last year also the spring one or a different one?
It was June 14th.
Okay, so yes.
Yeah.
Now, you could make the complaint that announcement day last year, there was too much crap.
No, I mean, you could, but you'd be wrong. In my opinion.
Iconic Masters was unnecessary.
Masters 25 was the one they were talking about. That's where they announced that Iconic Masters would be at HasCon, but we already knew about that one at that point.
Well, no, I'm saying in terms of there being too much stuff in general. I'm sorry. I meant there was too much stuff released in that time period.
Oh, okay.
And I would I see Mike's point. I would respectfully disagree, because for me it was like, woo, but I see the point of it may be a bit much. Compared to this year, it feels fine to me. But of course,
I know you thought the blind pre-release for Iconic Masters was really cool, and it was. That was really cool.
Like the concept is really cool.
The set itself was pointless.
The concept itself was great. The execution was flawed. But I hope the message was not, oh, we shouldn't do this again because people didn't like having this experience. The message should be the set needed to be.
Don't make a set for no reason.
Don't make us. There you go. So again,
I just want to clarify for anyone listening that's also confused. Iconic Masters was not part of this announcement day. The anniversary edition master set they're talking about ended up being Masters 25.
Yeah, I know. We were getting
that
off.
was.
I got us off track because I misunderstood what you were saying.
And I got us off originally because I thought that's where they announced it.
We already knew that Iconic Masters was going to be a thing. At the bottom of this is where they told us that Iconic Masters was going to have the blind pre-release at HasCon.
Okay.
So Iconic Masters was technically part of announcement day, but we already knew about it.
So I wasn't completely off base. But it's also It's also confusing when you have Iconic Masters and Masters 25 relatively within the same. Yeah,
that's a whole other concern. Iconic Masters was an awesome name that should have been the one they used for Masters 25, but it was another thing entirely that was pointless and or stupid. Apparently, drafting it was amazing, though.
Oh, really?
The people that actually drafted it said that it was a blast, but other than that,
Now, I do want to say, before we move on from announcement day, that I did look at Twitter. I looked at hashtag Ravnica and Guilds of Ravnica, and I went online and looked at a couple other sources. And I did find a lot of people that agreed with what Chewy and I were thinking, which was, wow, this is a bit much. Someone posted, I keep wanting to go see other places in the multiverse, and I keep getting dragged back to Ravnica, and I want to see other things. However,
it's like one of the original criticisms of Dominaria. These are planeswalkers who can travel to different worlds and universes, and they all hang around this one place all the time.
And I've had that complaint about the Gatewatch of like, hey, the whole point is we can, see all these different people, and let's keep seeing the same 5 or 6 people all the time. But I will say, to be completely fair, while I saw a lot of that response, you can tell that Ravnica means a lot to a lot of people, because I saw a ton of, yes, finally, thank goodness, this is amazing. One guy posted, I didn't actually see it as a response to the one I mentioned, but I think it was probably in response to that comment or a similar one, who said, now see, I have the opposite response. I keep wanting to go to Ravnica, and they keep dragging me around the multiverse. So obviously, for a lot of people, this is a very positive thing. Ravnica means a lot to a lot of players. So I'm not going to stand here and say they're wrong and, everybody agrees with me. My complaint is not about Ravnica. And I think, as Chewy put in his Twitter feed, the fear is not that they're going to do this incorrectly, because they've gotten very good. The last couple sets have been amazing. Dominaria was mind-blowing. I still really liked Ixalan Block. So the fear is not that they're going to do Ravnica injustice. It's just more of, wow, that's a lot of Ravnica.
Now,
I don't think.
Also, to be fair, this is right on schedule with the Return to Ravnica being cyclical.
Yes, which you mentioned, I think. Wait, was
on M&M.
Was that on M&M?
The first one was in, I think, Go5, and then the second one was in 2012, which is 7 years, and then the next one will
be in
end in 2019.
Oh,
so it's relatively, yeah,
it's dead on schedule. It's not like, oh, already.
Yeah.
And it's also probably just me being old and grumpy. I have done this thing with the guilds twice now. Newer players have only done it once, and newer players have never done it at all. And I don't want to take that away from them, because it's so much fun.
Ravnica is great.
It is.
Everybody loves gold sets. More that they have said more than once that is one of the themes that always gets the most positive response. When you're talking about, like,
enchantments matter, artifacts, gothic horror, all as concepts. The simple concept of multicolor just resonates with so many people. And the fact that they did do an excellent job with the world building with Ravnica, again, it means a lot to a lot of players. My concern, and I think Chewy's, is, it's a lot of it. It's a lot of it when we just got out of block structure. And yes, they said they could spend more than one set somewhere. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But it's a lot of it. So, but let's see how it goes. First one comes out in October, so we've got a little bit of a wait. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and I don't. Also, I'm sorry that we started this off so negative, but this was my honest reaction as soon as I saw it was, and like there's a groan and an eye roll, as I said on Twitter, which I was typing that laying in bed as it happened. So,
well, mine started out well and kept going down. So,
yeah, if you're excited about the return to Ravnica, that's awesome. I'm glad you are. I'm sure I will be by the time it gets here.
They're going to give us this first preview, and I'm going to be like, yeah.
I'm just really afraid that they're going to burn us out on Ravnica, which is too bad. I don't want people to not love Ravnica,
Yeah.
Well, look, if I can interject for just a little bit.
Nope, sorry, Dirk. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
That's a big if.
Always.
Here's your soapbox. All right, good. You look nice and tall. Okay, go ahead.
We just got back to Dominaria. And the whole, it feels like that in this first, set of it, that we're on the course to have this big confrontation with Nicobolas, which I know is what the Ravnica one is based on the release was sort of geared around. But the thing is that with this next set, which again I don't know anything about in terms of story, Again, I'm going to say this from a World of Warcraft sort of point of view that you don't want to have the characters you don't want to be burned down on the characters in the story, because in terms of magic, this sort of feels like to me when we went to the Eldrazi plane.
Planet. No.
Yeah, the plane. That one was Zendikar. And then immediately following that, we went to
Innistrad.
With
more Eldrazi. Yep.
And then after that, we went to, what was the next one?
That was Kaladesh, wasn't it? The hard turn?
I think so.
Yeah, that was Kaladesh.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it's sort of like how Brian feels about the Gatewatch and the Eldrazi, that we just got done with the big block and we wrapped up about these villains, but then the villain got away. One of the villains got away, and and then we tagged along to continue the story, but we left a plane that feels like we didn't finish the story there. And that's sort of how I feel about Dominaria, that we're on a plane right now that is incredibly storied in terms of magic. And I have no doubt that with Nicobolas, sort of based on the cards and what I can tell, he sort of gets away to go do his next step of the scheme. And I don't know what Battlebond is going to bring is going to bring to it, and what sort of shenanigans are going to happen. But to me, I feel like that there's probably a story in Battlebond that may or may not get resolved, and that it would be nice to stay on Dominaria and do something of that sort, so that we have, a block to sort of catch our breath, to evaluate, and then potentially roll into Ravnica as we did all this stuff, we can do this now. Oh, that's right, Nicobolas got away. Now let's go take care of him now, so that we have a chance to clear our palate. So we have a chance to sort of readjust ourselves and figure out, okay, now what's the big scheme, and what's going on, and all that. So I don't know what Battlebond is going to bring, but I don't want to feel like we are being that Nicobolas is going to be the guy who's going to be the big bad guy for the next couple of sets that we keep chasing, and we keep going to new planes, and we keep chasing. only to find out, oh, well, this, and then we got to go chase him again. Sort of like again with Jace. We are kind of tired of seeing Jace because this is now the Jace card game. Because all we did is we got new Jaces for a couple of blocks because apparently the story revolved around Jace.
Because he's the Mickey Mouse of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Where it would be nice to not have to worry about that, we spent so long jumping from, planes that that were just amazing to go to. In Innistrad, we went to Ixalan, we went to all these planes which had just great foundational stories to them, and then now we seem to be chasing down all these planes, and they're just sort of like, hey, remember this one? Here's some mechanics, and let's go to the next one. Hey, remember this plane? This had some mechanics. Let's go to the next one. And we sort of just running through that, where it'd be nice to just clear our minds of some of it for just a little bit before we roll into the next disaster. Storyline disaster that's about to happen.
Yeah, and Battlebond is a side story.
Yeah, I think that's what Battlebond is. It is the breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a trip to the arena to watch some people fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder what it would have been like if it was a side story set on Dominaria to give also a little bit of continuity with
and that would have been
Dominaria.
And that would have been interesting, but they've made it clear that this is a different plane.
place.
Yeah.
Have they given us a name for this plane yet?
Yes, but I don't remember it.
Okay. I have been paying zero attention because, well, I'll get into that later too.
It's not one that we have been to before.
Aren't we also, isn't Dominaria near the tail end of the sets whose advanced concepting, like even before they started thinking of cards or even themes, where the advanced planning for them assumed the traditional block? Aren't we getting near the end of that?
I think so, yeah.
No
because
idea.
they had said originally there were going to be 2 sets of Dominaria and that they had to scale it back.
They did?
Which was one of the... Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
So
again, is how
Battlebond's
we...
not even on Dominaria?
No,
It isn't.
Battlebond is like Conspiracy. It's like its own side thing. It's just meant to be drafted and had fun with.
Yeah.
Actually, Battlebond is this year's Conspiracy-style thing.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Now, another word on going back to Ravnica. I think another thing that I thought of immediately, but we haven't mentioned yet, is that going from a year on, 1 year per plane to 2 set blocks and getting rid of the core set. So now we have 2 planes per year to every set is now standalone, which means potentially, but they're bringing back core sets. So potentially 3 planes per year. I really hope that the world building team, that part of the reason for this is so the world building team can get ahead.
Yeah.
Because Ravnica is basically built. Like, you need to do some updating and whatnot, but Ravnica on the whole is already there.
You're not making a whole new world.
Yeah, so you just do some touch-ups there, pass it on to whoever, and then get started on your next plane and then your next plane. So I'm hoping that one of the reasons for spending a full year in Ravnica is so that the next year is freaking awesome.
That'd be nice. Because who knows what's coming after Ravnica, which we probably won't know until...
This time next year.
Yeah.
Because after Ravnica is another core set, in theory, which we still don't know. They told us that they're bringing core sets back. Wait, I still have... Oh, no, I don't. I closed it. History. Hang on. I've still got this open. Okay, we'll once again be introducing core sets back into Magic. We've got some tweaks to the formula prepared, so look for more information as we get closer. It's like in 3 months. No, it's in like 2 months. We have 0 information.
Except for the cards that showed up in someone's Dominaria box.
Yeah, like we have nothing about what's different about this core set at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they've said it's core sets, sort of, not really, but kinda. Like, multiple people, like Rosewater, I know for one, said that it's not the same again. But we still don't know what that means, and that bothers me. But anyway, alright. So enough of Ravnica, enough of all that. The other things that were announced were some Battlebond stuff, which previews started literally the next business day. So that didn't count. But then we got to meet the global series Planeswalkers, Mu Yanling and Zhang Yanggu. I'm so sorry for how badly I'm screwing that up, but I assure you, Brian will pronounce it worse.
Oh, that is a guarantee.
Challenge accepted.
You want to know how I pronounce these? I don't.
The blue one and the green one. So we knew these were coming, but they dropped a bomb on us that these are going to be legal in standard in China only, which is a business decision, and that's fine. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
Because how many of the Planeswalker decks, Planeswalkers have been standard viable? None. So I think that's fine. People freaking out about it are just actually wrong, so be quiet. Now, I actually have only barely looked at these, but I still don't care. So, new set fatigue is hitting me hard, you guys. The never-ending preview season has finally worn me out, so I'm gonna let you guys read these. And I will listen. Who wants the blue one?
All right.
All right.
So Mu Yanling for 4 blue, starts on 5 loyalty, and has the traditional set of 3 abilities. First ability is a +2. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. The middle ability is -3. Draw 2 cards. That's always nice.
That's a big ask, though. Phew.
What?
6 mana and 3 loyalty for draw 2 cards. Oh.
Yeah. And then, well, I mean, it's a Planeswalker deck.
Exactly, yeah.
What do you want? And then the last one, -10. Tap all creatures your opponents control. You take an extra turn after this one.
Dang!
Oh, man.
Yeah.
If you
And it's
don't win the
interesting.
game on... Yeah.
And it's interesting, especially because of the first ability. It's a big blue Planeswalker that would like for you to win the game by attacking.
Yeah, that is a little weird, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's them exploring different design space, so...
Yeah.
Cool. But again, too expensive to be standard viable because Planeswalker deck card. But like some of the other Planeswalker decks, they have really neat abilities.
Oh, yeah.
Like that -10 is really sick. Alright, who wants to read the green one? Hint, hint, green guy.
You're going to have to send me the link. I can't find it.
Oh, my bad. It's in the chat.
Yeah.
It's the last one.
All I see is Battlebond.
Right above
One
that.
above that.
Well, right above the Gideon Party picture. By the way, listeners, did you see the thumbnail I made for Monday Night Magic? The YouTube video. It's a Gideon Party.
All right. Zhangu for 4 and 1 green.
I lied. Dirk will get it worse.
Yeah, I was about to say, challenge accepted. Legendary Planeswalker Yengu has a loyalty of 4. It has a +1 ability. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Nothing else, just +2/+2.
Seems good.
Okay. -1. If you don't control a creature named Mau,
It's one of those.
okay, create a legendary 3/3 green hound creature token named Mau. So if you don't have a 3/3 green hound that's legendary on the board or on the battlefield, guess what you get to make for -1 loyalty?
And you can see him in the background of his art. He's a cute little puppy thing. Duh.
I want to see that
so
puppy
pretty.
dog. I want to see that puppy dog casting Urza's Ruinous Blast. Just like,
Right?
with that big old grin on its face.
All
Anyway,
right.
keep going.
And the limit break for -5 until end of turn, target creature gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the number of lands you control.
Wow, you can do that the turn after you play him.
Yeah,
Yes, you
that's
can.
good.
Huh. Neat.
That's definitely. And this one actually isn't that hard to splash because it only costs 4 generic and 1 green. So, of the two, I think this one's a little easier to like jam in a deck.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he's more fair.
So there you go. There's our global series. It is possible, it's actually probable, that we will see these two again. Because the paragraph right above the pictures says, this features 2 new characters who are and will continue to be part of the Magic world at large. So it wouldn't surprise me if at some point their stories interact or intersect with the whoever other stories we're following further along.
If you stare at the guy whose name I'm not going to pronounce, and if you look at him at just the right angle, can you not see the guy from Mad Magazine?
There is a slight Alfred E. Newman vibe you can get, yeah.
Okay. For the longest time, I was trying to think, I was like, where have I seen this guy before? And then I'm like, oh, yeah.
It's like, what, me worry? I got a puppy.
And this is not an insult at all, because Alfred B. Newman is awesome. I love Mad Magazine. Okay?
All right, so now, enough of all that nonsense. Oh, the other thing from Announcement Day that caused people consternation is that they're bringing back the buy a box exclusive promos.
Yep. Which
for the foreseeable future.
Which doesn't surprise me in the slightest, and I'm not sure why it caught anyone off guard.
Yeah. The concern that we had with it on Monday Night Magic, because Clues wasn't there. Clues hates it with a passion. But the concern we had with it is we hope that, like, we're concerned that they think that it works so well because of Firesong and Sunspeaker. I think it works so well because it was Dominaria.
Yes.
So if they're like the one sample size and they're like, look, it was a big hit, keep doing that. And then the next one's Ravnica, which means that's going to be a big hit too. So that's going to be 2 out of 2 home runs. If we get to a place where people aren't so big on it and they print a card that's all right, then it's going to tank hard. But I guess they're just trying to suck up the money while they can, because it is still a business. It's not like the greed of Blizzard, like all the idiot people that complain about Blizzard. And this is a good business decision. I'm just concerned that they might, like, their analyst people might be missing the actual cause of the success.
Well, I mean, I hope they're not under the delusion that it's a major selling point for buying a box. I'm sure it's something that's going to tip some people over the edge to make the decision to say, okay, I'll get a box this time. But there are so many people who are just going to buy boxes anyway. You know?
Yeah, they're going to buy the box and, oh, cool, look, this came with something. But they're there for the box.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Or I don't think there will be anything wrong with that, even if it ends up with a set in the card that isn't very popular. You know, whatever. It's just a fun extra thing. And as long as they're able to keep it to cards that are just cool instead of something that becomes a chase rare for a constructed deck, then it'll be fine.
Which is, of course...
Yeah, given enough time, there is the possibility that they'll make a mistake and there'll be a good card there that ends up being in high demand and gets super warped. But hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah, that is the main complaint that people online seem to be having. Like, well, like, it's not that they're upset about it, like, as it is. There's this abstract, what if they print a standard playable card? Then the whole thing's screwed. We're like, okay, so they won't do that. Shut up. And if they do, well, then they screwed up, and oh well.
And then they'll stop that.
They'll probably reprint it somewhere down the line.
Yeah, probably.
That's how that works.
Put it in a master set.
That'd be a way to sell a master. Exactly.
Freaking master sets.
But Mike has a good point, you know, So,
speaking of master sets, I have heard that Battlebond is actually Commander Masters, disguised as a two-headed giant set.
You wouldn't be entirely incorrect. Should we start with the mechanics article?
Yeah, if someone wants to find it and drop it in the thing here, the chat.
Yeah, I'll find that real quick. I dropped in the card image gallery. I didn't think to go to the...
yeah, I forgot that there was one, even though we talked about it on Monday Night Magic.
I'm on it. I'll get it. 5, 4... Come on, Brian. You can work faster.
I already got it.
Blast! I am the fail.
It's in the Monday Night Magic show notes, which I didn't realize until I mentioned it.
Thank you, Chewy.
So...
Now, you can actually skip over a lot of this initial part. No offense to Matt, but it's kind of going over the concept of the set.
Yeah, so the first thing is Partner With, which is pretty big and pretty awesome.
It is interesting. in the first article, it kept saying it was a take on a returning thing, and it took me a while to realize which returning mechanic it was talking about. And then I was like, oh, because I didn't think about this in terms of Commander. So, but this is a different take on partner, literally.
Yeah, and it's partner with. And so, hey, Mike.
Yes.
Explain partner with, because I already had to do it once this week.
Okay, so it's a variation on partner from one of the previous commander sets, where two commanders with partner can be buddies with each other, and they can both be your commander at the same time. And you build your deck that way. So partner with is a special thing where, yes, the legends with partner with can partner together to be your commander, but only with each other. Only with each other, not with anyone else. And also, while you're playing the game, it also has this other function. I'll just read the reminder text for it. When this creature enters the battlefield, target player may put the other partner into their hand from their library and then shuffle. So when one hits the battlefield, you can go find the other one, or let one of your teammates go find the other one. Or if you're feeling really nice, let one of your opponents go find the other one, and then they'll both be out at the same time, and they'll interact with each other and do cool stuff.
Because they're made to complement each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's interesting in the way with Battlebond is laid out, it's intended for the two people on the two-headed giant team to build two-color decks of allied colors, and these partner with characters are in enemy colors. So the intent there is, for this example here, I'm playing green-red, and my partner's playing blue-white. I have Peer Imaginative Rascal in my deck, and when I play it, I can tell my two-headed giant partner to go get Toothy Imaginary Friend into their hand.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So the examples here, Peer Imaginative Rascal, for 2 and a green, a 1/1 legendary human. It's rare. And partners with Toothy Imaginary Friend. And likewise, Toothy partners with Peer. So the ability here, if one or more counters would be put on a permanent your team controls, that many +1 of each of those kinds of counters are put on that permanent instead. So it's like a crazy winding constrictor. And then Toothy is a legendary illusion for 3 and a blue. It's a 1/1. And it's, it partners with Peer. And then whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Toothy. And when Toothy leaves the battlefield, draw a card for each +1/+1 counter on it.
And because he's getting a +1/+1 counter per, says he's going to get an additional +1/+1 counter.
Right.
So they feed off of each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all of them have have a synergistic relationship in this way.
Yeah.
That makes them really cool when they're both on the battlefield.
And of course, if for some reason you were playing this outside of Two-Headed Giant, you are welcome to search your own library for the other copy of this, assuming that you have it in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's important to note is because they expect you to be drafting this for Two-Headed Giant, guess
That's
what?
Right.
Yeah, when a booster has a card with partner with, both of those cards will be in the same booster every time. And even if they're foils, if one is foil, the other one will be too. I did not know that. That's cool.
That's
great. People have been asking Gavin Verhey so many times that he's tweeted it 3 times. And we wondered about this on Monday Night Magic, and he tweeted it the next day, of course.
I hadn't heard that, but that's cool. So now you don't have to be like, who gets the foil one? You both get a foil one.
Yeah.
My take on this, I think it's neat design space. The funny thing is, when I think about it in terms of Commander, one of the things that I really loved about the original partner legendary creatures was that I could take any two and put them together. So I could build these decks that all of a sudden, worked in, or the theme was this really weird interaction that maybe they didn't work together, or maybe they work together, they complement each other in really crazy and interesting ways. And here you're more locked in. I know why they had to do it. It makes much more sense to say partner with this from a design perspective for this set. I get it. I don't know how much I'll do it for Commander. I guess it depends on what I get, but and the quality of those individual legends. But
there's less opportunity for me to be mad scientist and wahaha when you're telling these two have to be best buddies and they can't make other friends. So, but I think it's different and kind of unique design space. So
yeah, the original partner thing was to allow mixing and matching. The partner with, these are really one thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're basically two parts of it. And if you look at the art for all of them, they're really awesome.
Yeah. So, all right, that's partner with. We'll have a lot more of that later.
It's almost like having a split creature card with Fuse.
Yeah.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's originally what I thought this was going to be, is that the cards would go together and essentially some new special ability would show up because of the fusion.
Mm-hmm.
And now I play polymerization or whatever it's called.
One neat little fact. So getting two given cards to always show up in the same booster pack together, that was one of the solutions they explored for original Innistrad, with a way to figure out how to do the double-faced cards. Well, maybe we can make the other half always show up in the same booster pack. But that was too hard. The hardware and software just didn't exist at the time. And it still wasn't good enough when they were trying to plan out Amonkhet to make sure the Embalm and Eternalized tokens showed up in the packs with the cards that went with them.
Oh.
But here, for Battlebond, they were finally able to get it where they wanted it.
Cool.
Yeah, the only downside of that is that anytime there's a new collation thing, there's always issues in the packs.
Mm-hmm.
Or, in the case of Dominaria, in the digital versions of the packs.
Oops.
Is this something that happened?
Yeah, a large, I think it was either a large percentage or none of the legendary creatures had foils on Magic Online. They just didn't exist.
Oops.
Huh.
Because foils in Magic Online are oddly less valuable than the regular ones, or less wanted.
Mm.
So bots always just get them. And there was one of the bigger, like, trader bot things that realized, hey, we have gotten 0 foils of these legendary creatures in all of the Dominaria that's been opened. I think these don't exist. And it turns out they didn't. Oopsie.
All right, so that is partner with. Shall we keep moving?
Yep, let's go to assist, because assist is nice and simple.
So, hey, Mike, what if this card costs 2 less?
It doesn't, though.
It would be.
It doesn't, but I can give you a hand on this. So,
Oh, hey, Brian.
yeah.
Do you remember how much we loved Spectral Searchlight in Two-Headed Giant? Not just because of that time that you got a win off of it by burning our opponents for one to win the game. That was brilliant.
Epic. But it was still good. We didn't put it in the deck for, wow, maybe we can trick somebody and burn them out for that last point of damage. It was great because, oh, look, I've got it in my deck, but Chewie really needs another mana of X color. Boom, there you go. So this is that, kind of, sort of, not really, but I see where you're going with it. Assist is very straightforward. A card with assist, for a card with, when you cast a card with assist, your teammate, or technically any player can help you by paying some or all of the generic mana and its cost.
Yeah, it actually says, as you cast a spell with assist, you choose another player. And that player can help you by paying any amount of generic mana, which is a really weird way to put it.
That is not how the
that's just reminder text.
Okay, I understand, but I think the reminder text is misleading. But that does say another. That doesn't say any player. That says another player. So maybe I'm just reading. So I play Huddle Up. Huddle Up costs 2 and a blue, and it's a sorcery, and it says 2 target players each draw a card. When I cast Huddle Up, I can go, hey, Mike, do you want to help me out with this? And Mike can say, yeah, sure, and can pay either 1 generic mana or 2 generic mana, and however much he pays, I have to pay that much less. It doesn't look like you can pay colored mana.
No.
I mean, you can pay colored mana, but it will not go toward the colored mana cost.
Right.
So,
assist is only for the generic portion of the cost.
So you're never going to be able to just pay for all of somebody else's spell, unless there's an artifact with assist, which I don't think we've seen yet, but I haven't been over the whole card image gallery. So I like this. I like the politics involved. As in multiplayer,
a lot of times you're not going to want to help somebody else out, but maybe you might. And then obviously in Two-Headed Giant, yeah, we need to draw some cards. You know, maybe we can actually cast this on turn 2 instead of turn 3, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That and, hey, if you pay these 2, then I can also do this crazy thing on my turn.
Yeah.
But if you make me pay for the whole thing, I can't do the crazy thing, and we don't get to do it. So maybe you should help out, loser. I mean, teammate.
Which is going to make for some interesting discussions, because this actually opens up more stuff you can do during your turn, which means you have more decisions to make.
Yep.
So, right. So that's assist.
Yep. And then they're bringing back support.
Yep.
Support is an ability from, was it Oath? Yeah, Oath of the Gatewatch.
Oath of the Gatewatch. And it was pitched at something to use in Two-Headed Giant, like pre-release events.
Yeah, because you remember they brought back in quotes Two-Headed Giant. Like there was stuff in Oath of the Gatewatch that was good for Two-Headed Giant, and they actually pushed stores to do Two-Headed Giant pre-release events with Oath of the Gatewatch, which Brian and I did one, right?
I think so.
Pretty sure.
I know the last one we did was Ixalan, because that's where we had the gaffe about how Vraska's life resetting worked, and we're like, oops.
Yeah, and we lost that game. Yeah,
we totally lost that game. We were really behind anyway. But I think we did one for Oath as well.
I think so. But yeah, support is on. I think they're only on creatures, right?
No, it's not. There's
okay.
I think it was only. It might have only been on. No, there was some on spells and Oath.
Yeah. So basically, when the creature enters the battlefield, it says support and a number, and you put a +1/+1 counter on up to that many other creatures. So like the Expedition Raptor here says, when it enters the battlefield, support 2, which means you put a +1/+1 single +1/+1 counter on 2 other creatures, up to 2. So that's great in Two-Headed Giant, because you might not have 2 other creatures, but your teammate might have 2 other creatures. Hey,
look at that.
So yeah, nice and simple, returning.
Very, very straightforward. And then there's one more new mechanic.
Yeah, sort of mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shows up on a cycle.
Yeah.
In
Dirk.
And that would be support.
What?
I miss it.
And Dirk zoned out. This is the next one, Dirk.
Keep going.
Friend or foe. So, friend or foe. I'll just go ahead and read the card that they give an example of, because I'm not really seeing the type or anything like that. So, Piern's Whim. For 3 and a green, it's a rare sorcery. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend searches their library for a land card, puts it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffles their library. Each foe sacrifices an artifact or enchantment they control.
Yeah.
So for each player, choose friend or foe. So,
and yes, you do designate for yourself. So, which you're most likely going to be friends with yourself. I feel bad if you're not.
Okay,
Ooh.
so you choose
Yes.
the label for each per. Okay.
It's not like, compare this with the voting mechanic from Conspiracy, where, it was originally, starting with you, each player votes for either death or life. And then you do some result, cake or death, and then you do some result based on what got the higher amount. Here, you're just saying, all right, I'm a friend, Mike, you're a friend, Dirk and Chewy are foes. Hey, look, friends get something good, foes get something bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and simple.
There you go.
That's cool.
And once again, politicking. Because in multiplayer, if outside of Two-Headed Giant, if Chewy has Progenitus and the rest of us don't, I might go, everybody but Chewy, get a land. Chewy, you are my enemy forever.
I mean, that's fair enough.
Yeah. You do have a Progenitus, you jerk. Okay, so those are the mechanics.
Yay. So,
Yay.
Enough of that. Let's go to the card image gallery.
Yes. There's a lot on here already.
There really is. Well, I mean, because the full set will be revealed, of course, tomorrow by the time we're done.
Oh,
Yep.
Right.
So let's pause here and come back in 3 hours. No, wait, let's not do that.
No, it won't be till tomorrow morning.
I know. So, how do you want to approach this? Should we skip around?
Well, the very first thing that was revealed was actually the lands.
Okay.
So let's pause here and come back in 3 hours. No, it won't be till tomorrow morning. So.
So, how do you want to approach this? Should we skip around? Well, the very first thing that was revealed was actually the lands. Let's go to the lands.
And these are really cool because it's just a new cycle of dual lands. And they're allied colored. And they enter the battlefield tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents. So while this set is designed, just like Friend or Foe, while the set is designed for two-headed giant, it still works in multiplayer games, which is our specialty, you know. So
Commander, 60 card, you know, any kind of
yeah, we know what multiplayer means, Brian. Thank you.
Yes. Interesting. Well. These cards are not going to be standard legal, correct?
No.
Correct.
So no brawl for you.
But these are just really cool. It's nice and elegant. If you have 2 or more opponents, they're untapped, and you can use them. Nice and simple. Beautiful design. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
But that's really it.
And it's probably not going to affect modern, or it won't even be modern. It probably won't affect eternal formats because they're just not fast enough.
Well,
So-
yeah, we already have these lands without in single player, like Coastal
Right.
Tower, and those don't see play. So yeah.
Yep.
So
Nice.
Oh, there is one card that I saw that made me go, huh,
Okay.
and it's Last One Standing. You guys play
Yeah, that's
Hearthstone.
cool.
You know what this is.
Ding ding.
Yeah, it's freaking Brawl. Last One Standing for 1, a black and a red is a sorcery that says choose a creature at random, then destroy the rest. Which, if you play Hearthstone, that's Brawl. So
Some train all their lives for a shot at the title. Some just get really, really lucky. I like it.
So yeah, that made me very happy. Okay, but I'll turn it over to you guys now. Try to focus on new cards for the beginning of this.
Oh, okay.
Focus on, because there's a lot of spicy. There's a lot of spicy reprints here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Let's see. So something new, something that's nice and amazing. Well, we do have a pair of planeswalkers that partner with each other. So,
And they can be commanders.
and they can be commanders. So let's do those real quick.
Nice.
That would be that one is in blue and one is in red. And despite the fact that his name is Will, he's at the top of the list. So that's weird.
That's because for these, wait a minute.
Yeah, the partner withs are actually at the top of each color. I figured that out a few minutes ago.
Although he's still in front of Toothy. So, okay.
And I
But-
think it's by rarity, too.
Okay.
This is confusing.
Whatever floats your boat, man.
Anyway, whatever.
All right, so this is Will Kenrith. I think I actually got that right. For 4 and 2 blue, he is a legendary planeswalker. He's a legendary planeswalker. I had to mess it up there.
Good lord.
Will. He's mythic. He comes in with 4 loyalty, and he partners with Rowan Kenrith, and Will Kenrith can be your commander. +2. So it's interesting. His plus is a +2. Until your next turn, up to 2 target creatures each have base power and toughness 0/3, and lose all abilities. So shut them down. -2. Target player draws 2 cards. Until your next turn, instants, sorceries, and planeswalker spells that player casts cost 2 less to cast. You know, I'm going to ask it, what if they all, didn't cost as much? And then finally, limit break -8. Target player gets an emblem with, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. So I love all of the references to, target players. So maybe you're doing it to yourself, making your stuff cheaper, drawing more cards, but maybe you're helping your partner or someone that you don't hate as much at the moment, helping them out. So I like it. What's his sister do? Or wife? I assume they're brother and sister. They're married. I don't know.
Huh, I don't know. Anyway.
I think they're siblings.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. So Rowan for 4 red is also a legendary planeswalker. Starts on 4 loyalty and has similar costed abilities. +2. During target player's next turn, each creature that player controls attacks if able. -2. Rowan deals 3 damage to each tapped creature target player controls. That's a lot. 3 damage is a lot.
That is a lot.
And then -8. Target player gets an emblem with, Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. She partners with Will and can be your commander.
And that limit break seems especially strong because you know what activated abilities are not mana abilities, generally speaking? Planeswalker abilities. And she immediately gives you or your partner or the ability, your teammate, the ability to search out and get a planeswalker, a specific planeswalker out of their deck.
Yeah.
Seems pretty good.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I like her. I like her a lot. I think he's interesting, but he's more of a, like, you have to build around him just the right way with instants and sorceries. Her first two abilities are so they feed off of each other so well. Hey, send your guys at me. Okay, now blow them all up. It's very efficient.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, if you drop Will and minus, if you're like two-headed giant, you have Will and your partner has Rowan. If you drop Will and -2 on your partner, then their Rowan is only going to cost 4, and if they have other mana to cast other instants and sorceries, those are cheaper too.
Buh.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's all happening on the same turn too. That's hot.
Yep.
Yeah, the snowball effect is real.
Yeah. So those are nice. What else we got? Hey, Dirk, what's something that stands out to you that's new?
Go up. All right, so there was another one that's Regna the Redeemer. She's a partner.
What color is that?
White.
Okay, all the way up to the top. All right.
So for 5 and a white, Regna is an angel. That's a 4/4. Partners with Krav the Unredeemed. Has flying at the beginning of each end step. If your team gained life this turn, create 2 1/1 white warrior creature tokens.
2. Oh my god.
2.
Yeah.
I think I misread that. Oh, okay. All right, that seems pretty good.
And then,
And FYI, warriors are a theme in this set.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have Krav the Unredeemed. For 4 and a black is a 3/3 demon, who, of course, partners.
Mm-hmm. Angels and demons.
Angels and demons living together, cats and dogs and hysteria and all that stuff.
Only Brian could mess up the most obvious reference ever. But yeah, he partners with Regna the Redeemer. Now remember, if you gain life, she makes 2 tokens, right?
Yep.
All right, so you pay a black and sacrifice X creatures. Target player draws X cards and gains X life. And you put X +1/+1 counters on Krav. So they play off of each other really well.
Extremely well.
Oh my god, stop eating those poor warriors. No, it's cool.
Yeah, I don't...
Draw some cards.
I'm not sure what the relationship is here because, I mean, not to say that they can't buddy up, but it's a little interesting. Angels and demons don't have a whole lot in common, and is he just eating people right in front of her and she's cool with it and she's like, here's some more people?
I mean, in his art, it looks like she's like trying to pull him back.
Yeah,
She's trying to redeem him, maybe. But she's clearly not trying hard enough because he keeps eating people. And he definitely looks bigger than her on her art. Like, look how big he looks.
Yeah, her art is really weird. Because there's this big... Maybe he's been eating... Because he gets counters after he eats things. Maybe that's after he's eaten several.
But once again,
maybe.
So the whole flavor for this set is partners of warriors trying to make a name for themselves in the Colosseum. It's supposed to be non-lethal. So this is not like the end of the world. It's not like, I think it's to distinguish it from like the Cabal pits where you're literally like shoving slaves in to die. Oh, look, these guys are just fighting and it's fun and ha ha ha. But I'm wondering what caused an angel to voluntarily team up with a demon that's eating people. I kind of want to know what's the story here.
They're still good in him. I sense it.
Maybe
I feel like she's like a parrot on his shoulder.
Maybe was like an ad online, need partner, I am totally not a demon. She shows up, he's like, I'm a demon. And she's like, oh, you scoundrel, and then there's a laugh track.
Oh.
So
people gathering in the town square to go on a raid or something.
Yeah.
So there's also non-legendary partners. Like here's a set at uncommon. One's in white and one's in red. The Proud Mentor partners with Impetuous Protege. The Proud Mentor is a 1/1 human warrior for 2 and a white, and it has an ability: white tap target creature.
And
the
then
Impetuous keep going.
And then the Impetuous Protege costs 2 and a red, partners with Proud Mentor, and is a 0/4. So it's not going to attack a lot, but it's going to stay in the way. And whenever this attacks, it does get +X/+O until in a turn where X is the greatest power among tapped creatures your opponents control. So forget what I said about not attacking, because the Mentor is going to go, hey, big guy, stand down. And the Protege is going to be like, sweet.
Yeah. The flavor text for the Mentor says, "Get ready, son." Which is exactly what they do when they're standing next to each other.
Meanwhile, he's muttering to himself, kids these days in their purple hair, their like
Oh yeah,
face armor. In my mind, the Proud Mentor is very old fashioned. So, right. So hey, Chewy, what's one that you see?
I really like, getting away from the partners for a second, I really love the Arena Rector. This card is going to be one of the chases.
Arena Rector.
It's in white.
Okay.
Like, this is insane.
Okay.
For 3 and a white, it's a mythic, thank goodness. 1/2, Brian just read it. 1/2 human cleric. When Arena Rector dies, hey Mike, what did Academy Rector do?
Academy Rector gets an enchantment.
Isn't Academy Rector kind of busted?
Academy Rector is astonishingly busted.
Okay. So, when Arena Rector dies, you may exile it. If you do, search your library for a Bladeswalker card, put it on the battlefield, and then shuffle.
What the? What? What were they?
Yeah.
What?
When I read this, I was like,
this is not a standard legal set, so who cares?
This doesn't say that's not named Jace the Mind Sculptor.
It doesn't say that's not named Nicol Bolas or Karn. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, when this was revealed, I was like, ha, that's pretty funny. I wonder what the real card says.
What the? I mean, what? Huh? They can't. They did it.
This is Legacy.
The maniacs, they blew it up.
This will be Legacy legal, by the way.
And Vintage.
And, well, no one cares about Vintage, though, so.
Well.
Okay, so quick question.
Yes.
So, do the new round of Eldrazi remove? Can they only bring back exiled things that they exiled, or can they just bring back anything that's been exiled?
Are you talking about
the processors pull cards that your opponents own that have been exiled and dump them in the graveyard. So they can't unexile your stuff.
Dirk is trying to get very critical. I like where you're going, Dirk.
Dirk is already trying to make it more busted.
I remember the Eldrazi.
It's not bad enough already.
Yeah, I remember the Eldrazi being able to be like, hey, that's an exile. Hey, guess what?
Now it's in the graveyard. But no, I think Mike's right. I think that only really, you kind of set up the opponent's stuff for that. But how many times do you need to use this?
Oh, no. Wait a second. It says opponent, right?
What says opponent?
Or does the Eldrazi guy? Does it say another player or opponent?
Okay. Pretty sure it says opponent.
I think so.
Let's try to check.
I hope.
What's the name of one? Eldrazi Herder? Something Herder. Blight Herder? Blight.
Yeah, like Ruin Processor. When you cast a spell, you may put a card an opponent owns from exile into that player's graveyard. If you do, you gain 5 life.
Yeah.
So
And
it
if
specifies an opponent owns.
And when Blight Processor requires 2 cards, so it says put 2 cards your opponents own. So it could be 2 different players, but it still specifies opponents. So no, you can't do this with a teammate.
Okay.
But again,
Wow, Dirk is just coming out of nowhere this episode. He's the one that's all cynical, way more cynical about the Ravnica thing. He's trying to break Arena Rector as if she's not already broken.
Trust me, getting one out for free is fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Everything's fine. Oh my god. What were they? I guess it's because it's not standard legal. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and it does cost 4, which is a lot in most legacy matches, but
Yeah. But it's also a tutor.
Well, but it's okay to cost 4 if it wins you the game.
it's true, yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, in Legacy, your stuff usually needs to cost like 1 to 2. But, so, wow, I hadn't seen that one. I saw Play of the Game while we're still in white. And this is an interesting one. For 6 generic and 2 white, to sorcery, rare, exile, all non-land permanents. So it's a wrath, but it costs 8. So it's kind of late game. Oh, and it has assist.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
it's like a mid game.
It's mid game because literally it can be 4 for you and 4 from your teammate. Or, as we've said, not to beat a dead horse, but as they point out in the article, so in one of the articles, so what should you do with your Battlebond stuff after your draft? Just chuck it away? Not if you play multiplayer, because once again, Chewie Aspergenis, there's only so many things that can do something about that. Hey, Mike, do you have 4 mana? Because I might have a way to get us out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
See, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
There's Regna's Sanction right beside of it.
Yeah, another friend or foe card.
For 3 and a white, it's a rare sorcery. For each player, choose a friend or foe. Each friend gets a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control.
Ugh.
Each foe chooses 1 untapped creature they control, then taps the rest.
Ugh.
I had not seen this card, and you know what doesn't... what it does is pretty cool. I get that. I just read the flavor text.
Yeah, me too.
And that
Oh.
raises more questions.
It says, "Show them the light, my love. Krav, the unredeemed."
Okay, so these two are...
A couple.
I have so many questions.
Oh, wait, no, I can answer this. So this is essentially the WWE plane, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
So Vince Russo's the writer.
I
Now,
don't know what that means.
for everyone listening who's been into wrestling at all ever, you're going, "Pot!" And that's funny as hell. These 3 are clueless. But trust me, that's funny. Vince Russo is the guy who, even for wrestling writers, is the worst. Like, back in the day, David Arquette was the WCW World Champion. Yes, the actor.
Wait, really? I can't tell.
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
Yes, I'm being serious.
guy
And it was
from-
Vince Russo's fault. There have been lots
guy-
of... Just look him up. There have been lots of... If you're into wrestling at all and you still don't know what I'm talking about, just look him up. There's all kinds of horrible crap that he's done, including having an angel and a demon be a couple, apparently.
See, now I kind of want to see this as a movie with Krav being played by Dwayne Johnson.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he can do the eyebrow thing.
Or... Oh. Uh-oh. Who just left? I just left. All right. So, listeners, you just heard some sort of video game death sound, but we just had several minutes of being completely unable to connect with each other in any way, and Discord.
Several minutes of Discord falling down the stairs.
But it appears to have fixed itself. So
We're not
there,
holding our breath, but we'll see what happens.
there was an issue earlier today with their network and servers being unavailable, and they hotfixed it almost exactly half an hour ago. So
Maybe it was rolling through different regions.
maybe,
Mhm.
but apparently we're back up. I don't even remember what we were talking about, if anything.
We had talked about wrestlers and about how apparently Krav and Regna are a thing.
Right.
And then during the downtime, I actually looked ahead, and there's another white card that seems to reference this. It's called Together Forever. and it costs 2 white. It's an enchantment. It's rare, and it's got the 2 of them, kind of, being all buddy. Again, the name is Together Forever. So I'm like, okay. When Together Forever enters the battlefield, support 2. And then pay 1. Choose target creature with a counter on it, with any kind of counter whatsoever. When that creature dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand. As a reminder, Krav gets counters naturally when he eats things. So without even if it's something that you targeted something else with the support too. But yeah, so apparently they're a thing, and I guess, it's 2018. I'm okay with that, but not sure.
Who are we to judge?
I guess. I'm just not sure of the circumstances. And I hope it's not some kind of almost like Twilight, young teen romance. Like, he's so misunderstood and she's so pure, but she can't resist the urges or whatever.
Yeah, he's so misunderstood as he eats people.
Oh, no.
But once again, she's like, don't do that. He's like, I promise this is the last time.
Until I get hungry again.
Until I get hungry again.
I would just like to say to everyone that Together Forever was another song by Rick Astley that no one remembers, but it's in my head now, so thanks, Magic.
So what's something else we got here that's new? Maybe not in white this time. Just saying.
Oh wait, there was a red card.
There were a red card.
What? Shut up.
Yes, sir.
Wait. Now there was a red card that I saw and went, oh, here we go. It's a red rare enchantment. I just like the name, Stolen Strategy.
Yeah, it's cool.
For 4 and a red, it's a rare red enchantment, so there's a problem. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast non-land cards from among those exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells.
It's kind of almost a one-sided shared fate.
Yeah, it's a shared fate that's greedy.
Yeah, I get to play with all your stuff.
And my stuff. Which means I don't hate this card.
Because with Shared Fate, my whole deck was entirely draw spells and Shared Fate. And this, I can still play other spells I want to have in my deck. I just, can play your stuff too. Mwahahaha. So, I'm a fan. It does require you can only do it that turn. So,
But you get new stuff every turn, so.
Yep.
New toys to play with.
Once again, lots of decision making going on in this set, though.
Yeah.
My concern is that Two-Headed Giant, Chewy and I know, takes a while to play a game anyway. This is one of the reasons that you play a game of Two-Headed Giant, not a round. But you're always getting new information. You're literally drawing 2 cards a turn, yours and your teammates. You're discussing what you can do, and now you're adding in things like assist that open up more options, which on the one hand is a good thing. On the other hand, it means there's more stuff you can possibly do every turn, which means more decisions, which is going to slow down discussion. So I'm a little concerned that games of this are going to take a long time. But, I'm just old and cranky. So.
There's a green card that I really want Mike to explain.
Okay.
It's Grothama, All Devouring.
This is cool.
I haven't seen
this makes my head hurt. I just read it and I went, wait, no, and I read it again and I went, wait, hold on, what? And I read it again and now I'm like, Mike?
Is it in green?
Yeah.
It is.
I haven't read this card, but the art is
Kind of horrifying.
Disturbing. Yeah.
Grothama All Devouring. So for 5 mana, for 3 green, it's a 10/8. That's good. And it's a mythic legendary worm. Other creatures have, whenever this creature attacks, you may have it fight Grothama All Devouring. When Grothama leaves the battlefield, each player draws cards equal to the amount of damage dealt to Grothama this turn by sources they controlled.
Okay.
It's a raid boss.
Yeah, this is essentially a 10/8 that gives your opponents upside if they have creatures. is what I'm thinking. I'm reading here, right?
Yeah, but
If they
can
can
eat all those creatures because it has 10 power to get into fights with.
True.
and they have to deal 8 damage.
But then they get to draw, theoretically, a total of 8 cards.
Yes.
Probably more.
Or well, it gives other creatures. So you can also play it and then say, hey, I've got some, maybe it's late game, I've got some disposable guys. I want to draw a bunch of cards. I'm going to swing with my guys. And when they swing, I'm going to have these ones, because you can pick individually, fight Grothama.
But Grothama actually has to leave the battlefield in order for you to get the reward. Remember that.
Oh, I understand.
So you need to pile a lot. I mean, you still need to pile 8 damage into it.
Yeah.
So finding 8 worth of expendable guys might be tough.
Not to mention you'll be losing your 10-8 also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you're following that up with you and your opponent casting Play of the Game, then that's pretty freaking funny. You're like, all right, we're going to attack. I know you've got a bunch of blockers and whatnot. Everybody's going to fight Grothama. They're all going to die. We're going to draw a buttload of cards. By the way, boom, exile everything. I mean, that's a very niche situation. Because
still,
you had a 10-8 and 8 powers worth of other dudes to attack with. So it might not have been great, but there are board stalls where even that can't punch through, I suppose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And his still a 10-8 for 5. And I
ridiculous.
It's literally like a raid boss. You play this, and then it's literally like, all right, everybody pile on this, and the team that beats it gets treasure, basically, gets loot. And it partners with nobody. Because everybody looked at it and went, nah. No, I'm good.
Oh, you know why
your
he's
sister
all
doing
devouring?
anything?
Because he years of being picked last in kickball.
I would totally pick him first. And then I get eaten, so that's all.
I don't know. He doesn't have feet.
I just don't know that I would dare to pick him last for anything.
Wait, he's got feet. He's a worm. Don't worms have that kind of worm
No.
with the U? No, they don't,
No.
do they?
No.
They don't.
Never mind. Ignore me.
Definitely not the one in the art.
Well, I mean, he's also standing in a trench, it looks like, so he could have feet. But that's probably a trench that he dug by crawling through.
Yeah. Like Dune sandwormed his way
Yeah,
through.
exactly. Oh, hey, Discord just tweeted a bunch of stuff. Wow, yeah, a bunch of people were like, Discord, what the hell? And Discord replied with, okay, sorry, could you run a trace route for us? Cool. Because I'm paranoid, hey, let's talk about all the crazy reprints real quick.
All right.
There's only a couple of crazy reprints.
Yeah, in each color.
Yeah.
The first one that literally made me go, what? Was land tax.
You're right? Right?
Yeah. It's land tax. You should know what it does. It's in white. They reprinted land tax.
I mean,
Yes.
you might not should know what it does, because unless you're really old
Mm-hmm.
or play
Okay.
vintage?
So-
Is it even legal in vintage?
Well, yeah, everything's legal in vintage.
I mean, is it restricted in vintage? It used to be.
I don't know. Probably not.
I'll go look. You guys talk
Well,
about it.
since we've got a lot still to talk about, if we're going to cover lots of stuff, land tax for a white. It's an enchantment. It's mythic for good reason. And by the way, is this new art? Because
Well,
It's
yeah.
Judge Foil.
is it Judge Foil art? All right, sweet. At the beginning of your upkeep, remember it's an enchantment, so it's going to trigger every turn. At the
Wait,
beginning of-
it's legal in Legacy too. What?
Oh, cool.
I guess Legacy's a different format now.
They unbanned it, so
Yeah.
right. So at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you, you may search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. You're like, okay, cool. It's an effect that only triggers when I'm behind. This is ridiculous. You're gonna, if the opponent goes first and just is like, play a land, and then you're like, sweet, play a plains, play a land tax. If they play a land on their turn, you're basically getting at the beginning of your upkeep to draw 3 extra cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely insane.
It's completely insane.
We got a lot of other cards to talk about. So what's something else that's ridiculous?
I had a small amount of rage when I saw Magus of the Candelabra because it made me remember something that happened to me and Dirk in a game of Two-Headed Giant.
I remember.
Oh God!
I remember
Yeah,
you guys telling us about that.
Magus of the Candelabra, for 1 green, it's a human wizard. It's a 1/2. It's rare. And it has an ability, X tap, untap X target lands. So Dirk and I are playing in this Two-Headed Giant event. And our opponents, on turn 1, one of them drops Magus of the Candelabra. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then on turn 3, he uses it to help his teammate cast Haunting Him on Dirk. And Dirk has to discard 4 cards on turn 3
Yeah.
in limited.
Well, and then didn't they follow it up on turn 4 with a Karavek the Merciless?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry to spoil your thunder, but...
And we lost.
Yeah, you did.
But you lost in spectacular fashion.
Oh, yes. We
I
did.
mean, that's not something where it's like, how could you let that happen? That's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Like, oh, we don't have anything that can take care of that, do we?
Think of it this way. Magus of the Candelabra is kind of like the first assist card.
Yes.
I can see that.
Real quick while we're in green, it's not as nuts, because there's a lot of nuts cards here, but I remember very fondly Veteran Explorer. For
Yup.
1 green, it's a 1/1 human soldier scout. When it dies, each player may search their library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield. Doesn't say tap. Then each player who searched their library this way shuffles it. Remember, there was at least one multiplayer game where I think Mike was playing a Mimeoplasm deck, and somehow every turn was getting like a copy of Veteran Explorer and
It's
kept
because I was
stacking it.
playing the Riku deck. We were playing
Oh,
that
that's
set
right.
of commander decks out of the boxes, and I had Riku.
Yes. And somehow you got out like eventually 4 copies of Veteran Explorer, and we were all just ramping so hard, which was great because everybody felt like they at least got to do something that game. So it's not nuts or anything, but I give a thumbs up to Veteran Explorer because if you have not played with Veteran Explorer in multiplayer, you should.
Wait.
Everybody will love it.
You said we were playing with them out of the box. Was that a live episode?
Maybe. It was in Brian's old house.
Huh. Somebody will be like, yeah, I remember that. It was this episode, so thanks for letting us know ahead of time. Somebody sent me a message and was just like, oh God, tell Dirk Seedborn Muse is in Battlebond. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
Hey, Dirk,
I looked over and was like, whenever I was originally going through, I'm going, oh my gosh, Seaborn Muse.
what's Seedborn Muse, Dirk?
For 3 and 2 green, it's a rare spirit that's a 2/4. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step.
Once again, a multiplayer staple.
Yeah.
Is it
The Seaborn
Band and
Muse,
Commander?
whenever I played that and I had a Well-Wisher out, the guys would just go, dang
Well,
it.
It's just the fact that your stuff is literally never untapped.
Yeah.
Ever. Well-Wisher is the most egregious offender. Is it Band and Commander?
No.
No.
Come on.
Okay.
So the first one that I saw that made me go, what? Was actually not land tax. It would have been, but I didn't see land tax first. It was doubling season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw. I read that in Mark Rosewater's article, and he was talking about how hard he had fought to get it reprinted, and it was never going to get reprinted in standard because now that there's planeswalkers, it's just no.
Yeah.
But this isn't standard legal, so
Yeah, this is only its second reprint. Like, it was printed once in Ravnica, the original, and then in Modern Masters, the original, and now again in Battlebond. So it'll be in packs that don't cost $10 a piece.
It didn't
Well.
show up in another master set after that.
Not according to Gatherer.
Oh.
So yeah.
Yeah. One that I saw that was, it's actually sneakily brilliant the way they chose it here. True Name Nemesis
Oh my
is
God.
reprinted in this set. So for 1 blue, it's a 3/1 Merfolk Rogue. It's mythic. As it enters the battlefield, choose a player. True Name Nemesis has protection from the chosen player. So it's interesting because even though it's completely ridiculous, it's not as completely ridiculous for the limited format that this set is intended to be played in. Because it'll only have protection from one of your opponents.
Ah, that's a neat trick.
Yeah, so that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and it will get more people to have copies of this card, which, since the only way to get one previously was to buy the Grixis Commanders deck.
From Commander 2013.
Yeah.
Which was the reason that particular deck was shorted everywhere.
Yeah.
But
I feel a little bad saying this, but I got my 4 copies, and I've used it also gave me a good supply of command towers and a bunch of other stuff, but I have these sleeved and somewhere so that I have them. And I am perfectly fine with more players getting access to it, because it's ridiculous that that's the only place it's been printed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's just really cool, finding a way to reprint a ridiculous card in the set where it doesn't completely screw up limited if it shows up in someone's pool.
Yep. And it's still good, but it's not like the, oh my god, there's no way to beat this, that it isn't single player. Another card that I just saw, again, because I haven't been over this.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
We actually mentioned True Name Nemesis on Monday Night Magic. Before it was revealed, we mentioned it as an example of what happens when a limited... We were talking about the buy a box promos.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned this one as what happens when a chase card is only available in a very limited way.
And look at that.
And we were comparing... True Name Nemesis is like $30 right now. And Fire Song and Sunspeaker is like $6. So, meh. But that was the concern. We said if a set ever does, like a buy a box promo ever does become a chase for Legacy, it's going to be awful, because this was available in higher numbers than like a buy a box promo.
Mm-hmm.
And then they revealed it the next day, and we were like, really? Damn.
But there you go. This is obviously a way to address that. Oh, here's a card that we printed in very limited supply before. Everybody wants it. Here
Personally,
you go.
I can't wait to see what the foil True Name Nemesis, because it's never been available as a foil before.
Oh, wow.
What that's going to be going for, because
that'll be neat.
That's going to be a lot.
I want to see the layering on that. That's going to be cool. Oh, yeah. So another one that I just saw, if we're done with True Name Nemesis, that may not strike a whole lot of people as like, wow, but Sower of Temptation, as someone that actually was playing fairly regularly Constructed in Lorwyn block and had to fight against fairies, I'm going, because you might look at this and go, well, that's no Bitter Blossom. But Sower of Temptation and Mistbind Click were like some of the ultimate to fight again. For 2 and 2 blue, it's a 2/2 with flying fairy wizard. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as Sower of Temptation remains on the battlefield. And you go, oh, so many ways to kill a 2/2. I'll just get my thing right back. No, you won't. It's gone forever. And now they have a 2/2 flyer, because they're going to counter anything that you would throw at it that could kill it, and all of a sudden, you're just dead, because they got your best guy and they've got a 2/2 flyer. So thanks. Trust me, every time you think you're going to kill one of these, you can. And I'm thinking back to my experience in this set, again, with 2 opponents, there's a better chance they'll actually be able to blow it up. But in Constructed, this thing was dumb. Just dumb. So, buh.
And there are even bizarre niche consequences, like playing Sower of Temptation. By the way, it's Sower, not Sour. That will make people rage. Don't do that. It's using your Sower of Temptation to take your partner's thing to block their True Name Nemesis.
Ha!
Like, oh no, this is the only thing we have that can block the True Name Nemesis, and it's got protection from me. Oh, give me that. Block.
Well, you can still block.
Yeah, you can team block.
Yeah. You declare who you're attacking, but teammates can still block for each other.
That's why I said the only creature that we have that can block a True Name Nemesis, and it's got protection from me. But if your opponent controls it... If you have protection from Dirk, and Dirk has the only thing that can block the True Name Nemesis, but it can't...
Oh, I didn't follow the rest of your sentence. Okay.
Sorry. That was probably my fault, but...
I got lost.
Although the Sower doesn't have flash, so...
Well, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Not trying
Like
to
I
be-
said, it's a very niche thing, but
Yeah.
again, more decisions.
More decisions. That's right.
Was there anything in black that made me go, what? Oh yeah, Diabolic Intent.
The closest we'll ever get to diabolic demonic tutor.
Yeah, without shenanigans.
Yeah.
So Diabolic Intent, 1 in a black sorcery. As an additional cost, sacrifice a creature, and then go get a card and put it in your hand. Just search your library for a card.
For 2
Nice.
mana. Yeah.
Oh, and the Nirkana Revenant, which is apparently massively expensive, and I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter that people were saying, holy crap, I didn't realize it was so expensive. And I looked, I was like, oh, I didn't either. According to MGG Stocks, its average is $23. Because it was a mythic from Rise of the Eldrazi.
Okay.
Okay. That
You
makes
got
sense.
at least 1 or 2 of those lying around.
Yeah, me too. It's a commander card, that's why.
Maybe I should stop using them as, coaster.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I like them. I just didn't realize that. Okay. Spell Snare is here.
Wait,
It's
really?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Yeah. And Tidespout Tyrant. Lots of crazy stuff in blue.
With
Jeez.
sick new art, dude. That Tidespout Tyrant is insane. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is baller as hell.
Those
Yeah.
look really good.
The stadium tests more than just fighting skill. For example, swimming ability.
And that's a Murloc. Never mind. By the way, the Tidespout God. All right. You might have noticed from me almost swearing and then the video game death music that Discord just crapped itself again. This only for a few seconds. So tell you what, to be safe, or am I recording? I am. To be safe, should we just stop?
I think that may not be a bad idea.
Like, there's so much good stuff, but we should probably stop just for safety's sake.
Let's stop here, and then with the release, we've got a decent amount of stuff still to talk about, and the set will be the full set will be revealed tomorrow. Next week will be here's all the stuff we didn't reach the first time.
Yeah.
Assuming something else doesn't come up in the meantime.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We will cover all the rest of the stuff and, like, do a Mad Lib or something, because I have one from a listener from a long time ago I just found again.
Ooh, we should totally do that then.
So, yeah, how about some final thoughts, Dirk?
Final thought for me, I had mentioned that my kiddos graduated and everything, and that I'm super excited that now I get to have some time off. Planning on this summer, spending some quality time with the boys. Leighton graduates next month from kindergarten, so from pre-K. He'll be joining preschool next school year, so super excited about spending the summer with the boys.
Nice.
Next.
I guess that's me. I'm next. So, like Chewy, I'm hitting a little bit of the new card fatigue, which it takes a while for me to get there because I'm always like, hey, new cards. And do I like these? Yes. Do I think I'm going to be investing anything in this? That's a much harder sell just because, played a fair amount of Dominaria. I've honestly played more Dominaria in the last couple of weeks than I have played any Magic in the last year and a half probably. So I've been drafting, I've been getting a deck together for PBTQ. I'm enjoying it. And you throw another set and another format at me, and I'm like, okay, really feeling it here. But, I'm not the target audience just because I am married and have a job and kid and all that good stuff. So I'm not trying to be a downer for anybody else that's got the time or the inclination. I think it looks cool. But just starting to feel a little So, and despite what I said earlier, I am very curious to see what's going to happen when we go back to Ravnica. So definitely keeping my eyes open for that. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was just thinking it's been a very long time since us four have played Two-Headed Giant against each other, like when we were sitting around hanging out. Even if we don't get any of these cards to play it with, I think this has put a bug in my ear to start thinking about trying that out the next time we get together. Because, like I said, it's been a very long time since the last time we did any Two-Headed Giant with each other.
Yeah. I am sorry you've got bugs in your ear, though. You might want to get that looked at.
Yeah. I'm gonna hurry and freak out after we hang up.
Or next time Discord dies.
Oh yeah.
It'll go diddle-long and it'll go, ah!
And then you guys will hear Chewie's voice saying, "All right, guys, this is what I recorded later after these fools went to bed."
I'd like to thank the following Patreon supporters.
Ow!
So,
I just love how you do his name.
he requested that I do it that way, so.
And it was a good choice.
So is that good for you, Mike?
I also like to shout out Bold Weir Intimidator, reprinted with the good art.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yep.
warriors.
Because cowards can't block warriors. Ah!
You have to sound so much like Vegeta when you say that.
I do, actually, yeah. I don't think it was intentional, but now that you pointed out, it was totally intentional.
Oh, real quick, just add on to mine. Still following the Great Designer Search 3 and still agreeing with the results thus far.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is so far below our radar, we're not even talking about it on Monday Night Magic. I guess once a winner is crowned, we'll mention that, but
Yeah, with still, I guess at this point, with 6 people in the mix, there's still a lot to read each time they do a new challenge, but it's been very interesting.
Yeah, they've had them do some really neat challenges. So, sorry, didn't want to. I had made a note to mention that before, and then with technology and everything, I forgot. But there you go.
huge success. Different note. For me, earlier today, actually immediately before we started recording, I was hit right in the feels by very incredibly sad news. Apparently, John Bain, who people know better as Total Biscuit, died earlier today. And, Total Biscuit was one of those people who would always stand up for what he believed in. Like, he was quick to call... I can't say that on this show. He was quick to call out problems with the gaming industry or with gamers themselves or any of that nonsense, regardless of the consequences, because it was right to do so. He also... I saw earlier someone tweeted, I think it was the Continue, tweeted that he was the tide that rose everyone up with him, because he was forever promoting smaller creators, inspiring people. He was one of the reasons that I decided to move into YouTube at all, just because he was so entertaining. And he always, like I said, he always gave it straight. If there was something shady going on, he would point a great big neon sign at it and be like, look at this, this is crap, don't do that, this is wrong, and do not give these people money. And he always looked out for the consumer, for the gamers themselves. He would do like Shoutcast Kings, he had he sponsored a StarCraft professional team, and he did it all for the love of games and gaming. And he even, and I've said this before back in the day, he even taught me to be better at Hearthstone by playing his really goofy and stupid all legendaries deck back when there were barely enough legendaries to fill a deck. Because a deck like that is insanely hard to play because, everything costs. Especially, you remember back when there was only the base game and maybe Naxxramas. Like, there weren't that many legendaries. Yeah. So all of your cards were at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. And watching him play with these horribly bad decks and then get wins taught me just how to play Hearthstone better with a normal deck. And it was... Yeah, some of my favorite videos were his rants about some sort of controversy in the gaming world. But he was diagnosed with bowel cancer in 2014, I think. I could probably look this up. But it went into remission and then came back and... Oh, here we go. Yeah, he was 33, by the way, which is horribly depressing. It went into remission only to return last year and spread to his liver and spine. Earlier this month, in May of 2018, he announced that he was retiring from being a games critic, just because he just couldn't anymore. Because the chemotherapy was no longer working and his liver was failing. And he was going to keep doing, like, the co-optional podcast and co-op gameplay with his wife, Jenna, and just all kinds of fun stuff. And he had some kind of surgery and was home recovering. And 2 days ago, he tweeted, "The physical part of me is getting a lot better. Mentally, I'm going to need some time. Thanks for your support." And I saw that and I was like, hey, that's great. So yeah. Excuse me,
It's not
All
an
right.
easy thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it together here. As we were discussing before the show, cancer sucks. I think all of us have lost someone close to us to cancer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So hey, those of you listening, if you've got a family member or a friend that you haven't talked to in a while and you keep going, you know what, I really need to call them, just do that. As Clues would say, by the way, call your mother, she misses you. So yeah, while these guys were reading cards that I'd already read, I was scrolling through Twitter, just reading all these other content creators that I follow. Hang on, now I'm gonna sneeze. Whew. Okay, I didn't sneeze, but that helped get me back together. Watching all of these other content creators talk about how John inspired them and helped them and just got them, like, gave them some support or believed in them or whatever. It's just nice. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So, I guess now we should do all the contact information and everything. It's the mana pool. Wherever we are, it's the mana pool. There's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. The YouTube... What's been going up on YouTube? I just put up... So I had a story time about getting stranded in a piece of crap vehicle. The story itself was way more entertaining than that. Is also... Well, I was only stranded for like maybe 10 minutes total, so it wasn't that bad, but the story itself was entertaining. I told it on stream and decided to turn it into a YouTube video. I especially enjoyed watching it back during editing. I especially enjoyed how I described the sound that this truck was making. It won't have the full effect without the video, but it goes... I had to take my headset off to do that, otherwise my headset would have fallen off my head and crashed into the desk and made a loud noise. But I just put up a successful Monster Hunt run with the tracker, where I managed to destroy Captain Shivers convincingly. Screw that guy. So now I've only got one left, and hopefully I will be streaming that this Friday night, but you're probably not hearing this until after that, so yeah. But yeah, over on Twitch, there we go. On Twitch, what's the last thing I streamed? Slay the Spire, which is a roguelike card game. Card collecting. It's a roguelike turn-based RPG that uses cards. That, like, you have a certain amount of mana a turn and you play the cards to attack or defend or whatever. It's really, really, really fun. I streamed it for, God, I don't even know, some number of hours last night. I would have streamed it for longer if other things didn't come up. But it's still in early access on Steam. but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a game that I will continue to play off stream. And that is not a thing that I do. Let's see. Oh, and then, of course, if you want to help support what I do with all of the Twitch streaming and the YouTube videos and the 2 podcasts a week. By the way, don't forget Monday Night Magic, where you get to hear me and Bill and Clues tell you the news and then give you our own editorials. It turns out Bill's reaction to Ravnica was very similar to mine, which was a little disconcerting. But if you want to help support what I do with all that, then check out the Patreon at patreon.com/themanapool, where you can get early stuff. That's YouTube videos and Manapool episodes. You'll get those early. You can get the early stuff and the odds and ends, all the stuff recorded before and after both Monday Night Magic and the Manapool, that are uncensored and unfiltered. And, man, the one for Monday Night Magic we just recorded was long, and we kept falling down the YouTube old cartoon intros rabbit hole. That's never a safe place to go, you guys. And if you want, you can get the early stuff, the odds and ends, and become a Manapool lifeguard and get the shout out on both podcasts and on the end slate for all the videos that go up each month you support at that tier. So to that end, I would like to thank the following Manapool lifeguards. Kim Ho, Andrew Hunt, Al, Corey Cloutier, Paul David, Lance Delicious, Team U Hellas Are You, John Morris, Stuart Slaw, PJ McMullen, Bosco Brittain, Casey, Nathan Hay, Danny Liao, Jason Doan, AJ Javieris, Cody Buckowing, Jake Jansons, Jason Kaus, Brian DeLucci, Stark Maximum, John Parker, Jimmy Scott, Violet Moon, Dan Holm, Bartle, Mike Millerburn, and the Beastfather, Aaron Goodwine. Thank you all so very much for your support. I quite literally could not do it without you. And is that it? I guess that's it. Yeah, it sounds like it. So with that, I guess we'll be done. This was episode, I forgot already, 511. I've remembered already. Complete with Discord crapping itself several times and all of that. So thank you all so very much for listening, and go play some Magic and call your mother.